At this time, it is my honor to introduce the 2023 commencement speaker. Laura Knoy is one of New Hampshire's most well-known journalists whose career has spanned over 25 years. We'll hear more about Laura's incredible accomplishments shortly. Please join me in welcoming Laura Knoy to the podium.
Well, thank you, UNH Manchester and Granite State College, for including me in your graduation. It's such an honor to celebrate with you. Thank you also especially to UNH Dean Mike DeSalle, who invited me here today. It was an easy yes. I love speaking at graduations. It's such a happy time for the graduates, of course, for their proud families, and all the equally proud faculty and staff gathered here today. And now, as your graduation speaker, I'm going to keep you happy by not giving a long speech. I also am not going to give you commencement speech cliches like, go out and change the world. Although I'm guessing a good many of you in this class will go out and do just that. What I am going to give you in my short remarks is something that I guarantee you will not hear at any other commencement address. Laura's lessons learned from live radio. So, for those of you who don't know me, I worked in live radio my whole career, with the last 25 years as host of New Hampshire Public Radio's The Exchange. It was a live, oh, thank you. It was a live daily talk show on news and public affairs with live listener input through calls, emails, comments on social media. Now, many of you graduates may be thinking, well, that's great, but how does this relate to me? I'm not going to walk out of this stadium today and start a live radio show tomorrow. But I think Laura's lessons from live radio apply to every profession, whether journalism or education or business management. So you ready? Here we go. There's only 5. Lesson number 1 is be curious. I think a big part of my professional success was tied to my curiosity about people, about the world, about how the world works, or how it is supposed to work. That means allowing yourself to admit you don't know. This applies to any field that I can think of, any type of endeavor that you graduates might choose to undertake, because once you admit, I don't know, you open yourself up to other people, their knowledge, their worldview, their experiences, and speaking as someone who did that every single day for a long, long time, it's endlessly fascinating and enriching. So even though I promised a moment ago I wouldn't exhort you to go out and save the world, I would think that a spirit of curiosity about other people and how other people might think might be a good first step toward softening some of the sharpness in our current political discourse. Lesson number 2, move on. Now, in live radio, you learn this very early. It's an ugly fact, but you are just not going to be perfect every day. And even worse, when you mess up and you're a radio host, tens of thousands of people hear. Once, when I was reading sports scores early in my career, I kept talking about the Buffalo Sabres instead of the Sabres, which most of you here know. Another time I said that, good morning, this is Morning Edition, I'm Bill Redlin. And that's obviously not my name. Yes, it's embarrassing. But I soon realized, and I really want to say this sincerely to you graduates, it's wasted energy to beat yourself up over what you did wrong. So I learned from those fumbles and mistakes. I'm here now telling you it's the Buffalo Sabres. And I've learned not to obsess over my mistakes. Now, I understand how hard that is. Listeners were never shy telling me about how they thought I messed up or criticizing the way I handled a certain topic. A couple years ago, one listener was so upset about the way I conducted a political debate that she started a Facebook campaign to get people to defund public radio. Did I view these criticisms as opportunities to consider how I might do better next time? Sure. Did I view them as an assessment of my value as a human being? No. I just move on and I get ready for the next show tomorrow. Now, this applies to any career that you might enter. You might give a boring presentation at work. You might be so frazzled with family demands one day that you tell your boss 2 + 2 = 5. That's okay. You're allowed to make mistakes. Just learn from them, and then, like I did every day, you just get ready for the next show tomorrow. Lesson number 3, take care of yourself. Now that's hard. I get it. When I was host of the Exchange and breaking news happened, I had to throw everything in my life out the window. The show I'd already prepared, my personal plans, my sleep. But when the news wasn't blowing up, I made sure to have time for fun. I was never one of those people who lost vacation days because they didn't find time to use them. I exhort you to not do that. I always made time to get outside and for exercise. We know how important this is, and for our minds, for our bodies, for our spirits. Now, I had 2 little kids when I was host of the Exchange, so those of you with children, I understand. But America's a workaholic culture, and yet we all instinctively know that our best ideas often come when we're out playing, when we're having fun. So if you hesitate to pull yourself away from your screen or your desk, do it because it'll make you a better worker. It'll make you a better parent. It'll make you a better partner. It'll make you a happier person. You don't have to go hiking up a mountain. You can go outside for a walk for 15 minutes, but just go. Number 4, be classy. Use your manners. I know that doesn't really fit our culture right now, does it? Manners and civility and politeness. It's like tea at Buckingham Palace. But I think manners and politeness were my secret sauce that made my radio show so successful. It kept the temperature down in heated discussions. It showed guests and callers that they were in a safe place. Now, please don't misunderstand me. That didn't mean guests could avoid tough questions. That didn't mean that callers could be rude or disrespectful. But whether a guest or a caller, I tried to approach everybody as a human being who has just as much right to be here as I do. Lastly, number 5, and perhaps my favorite, is you don't get if you don't ask. Every single job I have ever had is because I asked. I swallowed my discomfort, I swallowed my pride, and I asked for help. Now, it started with my very first job out of college. I was a receptionist at a typing agency. Now, many of you younger graduates may not know what a typing agency is. That's okay, they don't exist anymore. But before everyone had these things called computers, we had to type documents on these things called typewriters. And some people would do it for themselves, but some people would bring their documents into a typing agency, like the one I worked for. This was my part-time job in college, which was fine. But when I graduated, I had no other job lined up, so I had to work there full-time, which was miserable. The boss had, let's just call, a temper problem. And that meant she got into a lot of fights with clients. And these fights would end with her screaming, "I'll see you in court." And then guess who had to go across town to the DC Small Claims Court to file the paperwork? Me. I was such a regular at the courthouse that the clerks would see me coming to the window and say, "You again?" After about a month, I couldn't stand it. I would have rather had any job but this job. So I gave my notice. One day, one of our regular customers came in to drop off some papers, and he said, "See you next week, Laura." I said, "Actually, you won't, because I'm leaving." And he very kindly said, "Oh, what are your plans?" I said, "I have no idea, but I can't stay here anymore. I just graduated with a degree in international economics, international affairs with a minor in economics." He said, "Oh, that's interesting. My good friend," I'll call him Joe, just in case he watches this graduation speech later, works at a place called the Institute for International Economics. I'll give him a call. He can tell you how you can get a job in this field." Okay, I thought, great. I met with Joe the next day, and I could tell right off the bat he was so irritated having to talk to me, wasting his time. He said basically, "We have no jobs here. You can try this group, you can try this organization. Did I mention we have no jobs here? Good luck on your search, and we have no jobs here." Okay, message received, no jobs. I got home later that afternoon, and this was before everyone had a cell phone, so when you lived with a roommate, your roommate answered the phone. And my roommate said, "Oh, some guy named Joe called. He wants you to call him back right away." So it turns out as soon as I had left, one of the senior economists said he absolutely could not finish his project unless he had more help. Well, guess whose resume was sitting right on the top of Joe's pile? So yes, that was a stroke of luck, but it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been bold enough to put myself forward to say to Joe's friend, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm interested in. Can you help? What ideas do you have? I have dozens of similar stories from my career where I swallowed my nerves, I picked up the phone, and I spoke to people. I advocated for myself. I'm not talking about being pushy or obnoxious, but I am saying, this is what I can do. Do you have any ideas for me? I'd like to close by congratulating you on achieving your degree, which of course is what any graduation speaker would do. But I especially want to congratulate this class. These past 3 years with a global pandemic have been exhausting and confusing and terrible. And it would have been easy for you all to just give up. But you didn't. You didn't. And with help from your professors, administrators, staff, and families, you stayed on track and you did it. You're here. What a great day. I'm so honored to share it with you. What a great moment. Congratulations, class of 2023.